Hey gang, I'm in Antioch, Illinois today at Hillside Cemetery East, the final resting place of a fallen police officer. And I want to thank Paige Quigley, who's a new subscriber to our channel, for pointing this story out. I had heard of it, but I forgot about it. A very interesting story, a very tragic and sad story of an officer down. His name was Joe Gliniewicz. And when you hear the story, many of you probably know it, but those of you that don't, I don't really have any words, but we're going to have some words. Hey, let's take a look. The cemetery here is fairly new. I think it was built about 25 years ago. There's probably no more than 50 graves here at the most. We'll look at some graves on the way, the few that are here, while I tell you the story. So Joe was born in Libertyville, down south of here, which is actually the same suburb where we saw the family, the Rouse family that was murdered. And he attended Marmion Military Academy, and then he enlisted in the U.S. Army. After the Army, in 1985, he joined the Fox Lake Police Department, and he became a lieutenant at the police department. And he was doing a fine job there. In fact, he had started a youth program there that he became well known for, and it was called the Fox Lake Police Explorer Program, Post 300. And it was an organization that was for mentoring youths interested in law enforcement careers. So he gained this nickname, G.I. Joe, because he was kind of like a G.I. Joe type, all-American, rock-solid guy, rock-solid personality, leader, inspirational, the whole thing. And everything was going fine, but then all of a sudden there was an incident. And that incident occurred. It was a police call in at 7:52 a.m. on September 1st, 2015, where he had radio dispatch that there were 3 men he had encountered out in the, I think it was a cement plant or something, and he had some type of confrontation with them, and he said he was in pursuit of these guys. So they kept asking him if he wanted backup, and he said at first no. I think it was once or twice, and then finally said, yeah, send backup. And what happened was, when they got there, they found him laying, I think he was face down, with 2 gunshot wounds, and one which was fatal. And his taser, his mace, his baton, his gun, all gone, all strewn around the area. So what happened was they sent out, obviously, the whole police force and neighboring forces to go and look for these perpetrators, these 3 men, 2 white men and 1 black man, as he had indicated. They had almost 40 canine units setting up a perimeter. They had helicopters. So it was an all-out, and this made national news, guys. It was crazy. And I'm going to stop by some of these graves here, and you guys can have a look. at the tombstones. I see a picture back there. I'm going to try and zoom in on it. Yeah, it's very difficult to do. Hopefully that works. But yeah, so they were on the hunt for these guys. And then there was a woman, they got a call from a woman who said that she was confronted by, I think it was 2 men. And she said, she was 30 years old, and she said her name was Kristen Kiefer. She was from Vernon Hills, and she said that she was on the road in Volo, which is just south of here, and 1 black, 1 white apprehended her from a cornfield and tried to steal her car, prompting her to flee on foot. So here we go again. Nearly 100 police officers, roadblocks, the whole enchilada is sent out to, I'm going to come at it from the other side here. Do not want to step on this grave. Out of respect. There you go. Patrick Kears, or Karras, passed in 2009, not very old. Go Bears. Very sad. I wonder what happened. Some beautiful things here. Beautiful. You know the families here a lot. Oh, it breaks your heart. Breaks your heart, guys. So sad. It turned out to be a fake out. That's right. It turned out to be a complete fake out. Why? Why would she do that? Some people want attention, I guess. So they kept looking for the perpetrators, and they weren't having success despite all the efforts. Yet there were rumors that there were problems in his family, and he was depressed, and this and that and the other. Well, and by the way, they had a massive, massive funeral. Police came from all over the country to pay their respects. I think the funeral procession was 14 miles long. People came out of their houses, the whole thing. And his wife was appearing, of course, and they had 4 sons. And they're just destroyed and brokenhearted and giving the speeches, as you would expect. But there were rumors that something was amiss. Something wasn't adding up to this whole story. So what happened was, between the autopsy, which didn't make sense, how could the bullet get through his vest the way it did? It was a 40-degree shot to a pulmonary, not the heart, but just about through his heart. And there were other signs of, well, let's just call it foul play. And it was determined that, you know, and you got to look at everything, depression, motive, that there were, well, here it is. He basically they audited his little kids program, and they determined that he and his wife possibly was involved. And her trial's going on now. That he staged a suicide because he was siphoning money from this youth program, stealing tens of thousands of dollars, and he was about to be caught. He was about to be caught by the village Her name was Ann Marin, and she was the village administrator. And it turned out he was trying to get someone to kill her. And then after all of that, they kind of put more pieces together, and they started, you check, what do? You check the cell phone records. And now there's texts that he deleted between him and his wife. We better hide the money. They find, where did all this money come from, and what did they use it for? Well, he used it for paying the mortgage. He used it for all kinds of, some nefarious things like pornographic sites and vacations and restaurants. And they also found, I think it was a locker or something, where he had stored a whole bunch of police vests, masks, all kinds of equipment that was destined for police officers that he was probably going to try to sell on the black market. So they kind of like put all the pieces together. So that's what happened. And this is where he's buried. Now, I find that ironic. I didn't plan this, but sometimes things happen. That is a church over there. Well, the bells toll for Joe, G.I. Joe. Yeah, you see here, this is his grave, and it is unmarked. It is unmarked. There is a lot of anger, embarrassment, disappointment, but there is a sign, the blue, the police, RIP, and I'm betting that sign was made before the news came out. And I'll bet the only people that come here are his family, his wife and 4 boys. Wow, what a sad story this is. Can you imagine what those boys are going to have to live with growing up? That reputation. That's really sad. I stand here and I don't know, I kind of have a philosophical view. I'm not angry, I don't think he was I don't know, it's just kind of a feeling of sadness and disappointment. And I don't know how to describe it. It's not a feeling like you get where you want to spit on someone's grave, or they're assault women, or they're murderers. I mean, he did really bad things, and really poor conduct. Just appalling conduct. He probably thought he was never going to get caught. He had the image, but you know what? If you look at the positive side, and I'm not condoning anything here, he inspired a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of the people that went to his program went on to become police officers. You have to try to look at the positive side. He just did not want to face the public and his peers. He knew the news was going to come out, and he chose to kill himself. So I just think it's a very sad and disappointing story. I don't see him as a terrible bad man. I think he just made a lot of mistakes, and his ego probably got the best of him. And that was, in his mind, the only way out. So I will say, rest in peace, Lieutenant Gliniewicz. Because that's how I feel. I hope he's resting in peace, and I hope he's found peace wherever he is. And hopefully he can be proud of his sons growing up. Hopefully they can lead productive lives. So anyway, rest in peace, Joe. Rest in peace.